Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is Dr. Belinda Wilkerson, otherwise known as Dr. B, coming to you with this evening's college and career conversations. Now, this evening is open questions. So if you have a question and I'm able to answer it, I will do my best to answer your question. One of the things I want to focus on this evening came about from my conversation with Kevin Menawonu. Some of you, if you tuned in, you heard my conversation with Kevin, which was on March 1st. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, go back to March 1st and check it out. And Kevin and I, one of the things we talked about was financial literacy. I mean, you really missed it at the end of the conversation. When we went off air, Kevin and I talked for another half hour about the importance of financial literacy. So this evening, I just wanted to share a couple of resources with you about financial literacy and just open it up to any questions that you have that I may be able to answer or may not be able to answer. So we will be coming back in a few seconds. But again, get your questions ready. Think about what it is you'd like to ask. Go get your beverage, your water, your tea, whatever it is that keeps you happy. And I will see you in a few secs. So, hey, here we are back again. I just wanted to, as I said, talk a little bit about financial literacy. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please make sure you put them in the comment section. Those of you that are watching, throw something in the comment section so I know who's here. I'd like to know where people are from. It's always interesting when I'm used to be out and about and people would say, hey, Dr. B, I was watching you on Facebook Live. So it's always nice to know that people are watching. And then sometimes I find out people are on the West Coast watching, or people are other places watching. Please, again, don't forget to share this out with people so that they have an opportunity to learn a little bit of something this evening. So throw your comments in. Let me know where you're from. Let me know who you are. So I'm going to start off a little bit with, as I said, when in my conversation with Kevin, we were talking about financial literacy and the importance of financial literacy. And in his conversation, he talked about how he thought about, here he went to college and he had an MBA. And one of the things that he was concerned with, well, he had this MBA, but where was he financially? Like, what was going on? And he talked about doing a reset and going back and living home with his mom for a bit until he got everything together. So I said, you know what? It's never too young to start our kids talking about financial literacy. So if you have any resources on financial literacy that you'd like to share with folks out there, please put it in the comments and I'll put it up on the screen. But I'm going to show you a couple of them that I came across, and there are so many more out there. So please don't use these as the end all and be all. Like I said, these are just a few that I wanted to share with you. So this first one, I use this with kids sometimes. This one is geared toward folks who live in North Carolina. So if you don't live in North Carolina, look to see if your state has something similar. So this is called Reality Check. And it's actually put out by the NC Department of Commerce in the Labor and Economic Analysis section. And this is so cool. So again, this helps students think about what it would cost them depending upon where they lived in North Carolina, what their overall budget may be. So it's a budget. It helps kids decide how to spend their money. So the first thing you do, you have to put in your name. So I just put in the letter B. And then on this particular one, you can put in if you what city you want to live in, the county or zip code. So I'm going to put here that I want to live in, let me see if I can get this to do it right. I want to live in Charlotte. So that's what I'm putting. So you see what comes up on the screen. So now it's going to ask us questions again about all these categories. So it's going to tell us about housing, utilities, transportation, food, because we got to eat, folks, clothes, entertainment, personal expenses, healthcare expenses, education, miscellaneous, savings, taxes, and it will give students a monthly budget. Now, again, this is geared for North Carolina, so check around to see if your state government has something similar. So let's just see what happens with some of this. So the first one on housing. So they're asking you, do you want to own your own house? So if you do, so most people want to own their own house. So I'm going to say, yep, I want to own my own house. So do you want a low cost house, basic home, average home, upscale, premium? So let's not get too crazy. Let's kind of go in the middle here and say that we want an average home. So we're going to stick with that. So we're going to say we want an average home. Now, if you decide that you want to rent, it gives you these options for renting. Then if you want to live with parents or friends, you have that option also. So check this out. So now we go on to next. What the next category is going to be utilities. Okay, so you want water and electricity. Okay, so it says, what home services will you need? We know we're going to need water and electricity. Right now, I need electricity to be able to have this conversation with you. So let's put a check next to yes. Now remember, I chose Charlotte, so that's Mecklenburg County in North Carolina. So they're telling me that's going to be about $500 a month. Whew, high. Cell phone service. So this tells you that it includes water, garbage, sewer, septic, gas, and electricity. Okay, so that's going to be that utility bill. That's again in Charlotte, North Carolina. And these are averages. These are estimates. Cell phone service. Yes, 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 yes. So average phone cost and plan, they're saying this is average now. So remember, these numbers can change a little bit, but we want our students to have an opportunity to think about what are things going to cost. Now, what does this have to do with college and career? Well, you go to college. Now, when you get out of college, you're going to work. We're all going to work. So you're going to have some kind of a career and you have to pay bills. You're going to live somewhere. So this is going to help students think about what works for them. So do you want a house phone? Do you want a landline? I think this generation that's coming up will probably not have landlines. We still have one in our house. I don't know why, because half the time we don't answer it because it's usually spam or somebody trying to sell us something. So, hey, if you're trying to call us on our landline phone, on our home phone, you need to make sure you leave a message or else we're not going to return your phone call. So we'll leave that one alone. So let's say everyone wants internet. So, yep, you want internet. So we'll say that we're not going to, and we'll also put cable, satellite TV. So again, it's giving you averages. So now we're up to $760 a month. And then it's going to go on to transportation. So look at this. So do you want a car? So you're thinking most of the times that you live in a city that you need a car. I don't know how great public transportation is in Charlotte. So if you know you're living in a city that has really fantastic public transportation, then you might not want to buy a car. But so let's just say we're going to get an economy car with the payment, because right now we don't have money to like pay it off. Your other choices are to use a car that's already paid for. You know what? Let's go with that. So maybe a family member or somebody has a car that you can borrow. So right now that's just going to cost, whatever the average gas and maintenance is going to cost. So the next one is food. Yes, you need food. So, one of the things I forgot to do up here is your household size. So you have the choice of picking if you're single or married, no kids, 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids. So you have your opportunity to decide that. So for now, because you're just getting out of college, we're going to keep it at no kids and that you're single. So now we're talking about food. You got to eat. So you want to eat like the average person. So this is funny because my youngest son, we were having a conversation. He's on this, not a health kick, but he's eating healthier. He's eating cleaner. And he's finding out that costs a lot more money when you're cooking every day and when you're buying healthier produce and what have you, that it sometimes can be more expensive. So we do have that conversation. So let's just say the student says they want to eat like the average person. So again, it's going to do average cost. So they're saying you might spend around $300 a month on groceries. Okay. So now let's go on. Clothes. Okay. So for now, you're just out of college. You're not really out there buying a lot of clothes. So you're going to be thrifty. So let's just say you're going to be thrifty. So that's maybe $50 a month. Does that sound reasonable for someone just out of college? Remember, you can always go back in and change this. So now we're going to look at entertainment. Yeah, like to be entertained. So in Charlotte, that might cost you about $60 a month. So let's go on to see what some personal costs may be. And we're going to go through this really quick because I just want to show you a couple of other things. So personal. So this is how much do you want to spend on personal items and household goods? So again, let's just say you're going to do about the average, whatever that may be. That's $220 a month. So think about that. See, this is so great for adults to do, but this is a great activity to do with your kids, with teenage students, with middle school students, even younger students, so they can start thinking about money and budgeting and financial literacy and the importance of it. Now, we all want healthcare. Yes, so health insurance, okay, because they're no longer on your health insurance. So the average plan for health insurance might cost them around $130 a month. They may have some medical expenses. We're going to say no for now because we're hoping everyone's healthy. So we'll just leave that alone. So now we'll look at education. They are planning on not having any student loan debt now. If you say, I do not have any student loan debt, okay, that's zero. If you say you have student loan debt, they're averaging about $220 a month. So let's for now just say that this person doesn't have any student loan debt. They were fortunate that they had scholarships and grants that they didn't have to pay back, and that relatives also helped them out. So let's just go along with that ideal world. So again, that takes us to zero. Then we go to miscellaneous. Okay, do you want pets? Maybe one dog. You know, they're going to cost a little bit. You want to travel a little bit if possible. So they're estimating maybe $100 in travel. So let's keep this going. Okay, so saving. So let's start off, hopefully that you can save maybe 10%. And again, who knows what it's going to be like when you get out, when a student gets out of college, especially with everything that's going on now. So that's saying that, you know, you need to save about $630 a month. That might be a lot for someone just out of college. So let's just look at 5% a month. Okay, and then taxes. So this is telling you what your average taxes may be living in. Remember now, this is in Charlotte, North Carolina, Mecklenburg County, and these are all estimates. But this is a program, again, that's called Reality Check North Carolina, and this has been designed by the North Carolina Department of Commerce. Again, look to see if your state has something similar. So again, the monthly cost for taxes, you know, that's, you know, everything. So when we go to the summary page, this is telling a student about how much they may have to pay based on how they answered these questions. Then what you can do, and we're not going to do all of that today, but then what you can do is, so this is telling you that you need to in order to have that lifestyle, you need to make about $69,000, almost $70,000 a year. Okay. So then what it's going to do, so then if you had help from others, that would show up here, then you could connect here and it would help you find occupations that might be in that salary range. And then from there, you'll find out what kind of education you need and so on and so forth. So this is for NC Reality, for folks that live in North Carolina, and you can do any county, city, zip code that you'd like to. Again, see what your state may have. So here's another one that's somewhat similar, and I won't go through as much with this one. This one is called Jumpstart. It's financial smarts for students, and you can go through here again. It has something similar where it asks questions about your financial situation, like, you know, your shelter, your transportation, your food, utilities, communications, cable and satellite stuff, personal information, miscellaneous, student loans. Gives you it actually, when you look at it, you know, for example, like the student loans, on the other one, it just said, I won't have student loans. The other one says, I will have average student loans. This gives a couple more choices. So again, this is for anyone in any state in the United States. This is not just for students that live in North Carolina. So I definitely suggest that you look at this one because, you know, have those conversations with your students. So again, it's asking you, how much do you think you need to spend or set aside each month? And it's for different categories. And this one even talks about gifts or holidays, or, are you going to have any books or magazine subscriptions? So again, that's Jumpstart. That's free to use. So just go to that and look it up. Here are a few other resources. So Dave Ramsey, this is an article, a blog post for Dave Ramsey. So many of you have heard about Dave Ramsey and his financial literacy courses. So here are a couple of articles that he has about how to teach teenagers about money. So you can go through this blog post and look at some of the information that he has here. Now, if you're not getting these URLs and stuff, these are all going to be in the show notes, so you can find them there. So again, so some, things teens waste money on: fast food and coffee, trendy clothes, spring break trips, school dances, smartphones, video games, concert tickets. Well, not concert tickets right now, unless you're doing some of the virtual conferences, because they're not all free. But again, that's a great article to look at, to have so many different ideas. Throughout this blog post, there are tons of links so that you can go to these links and see what kind of information that you can use. And make sure you're sharing this with your students, because after all, they're the ones that need to be able to manage their money. And the sooner they learn how to manage their money, the better it will help them make informed decisions. Another site that's pretty cool. So this is put out by Edutopia, which is the George Lucas Educational Foundation. So throughout this particular post, it gives you all kinds of links to go through. So here, 10 free financial literacy games for high school students. So any teachers out there, well, right now we're all teachers. I did a workshop on Saturday with the Fayetteville State University and their For the Love of Children conference by the Office of Access and Success. Shout out to the Gear Up people. Shout out to Dr. Payton and Miss Campbell for putting out a fantastic program. And one of the things, one of my slides said, remember, you are your student's first teacher. You are their first teacher. You're not just their parent, you are also their first teacher. So here are some financial literacy games that you could look at and see what's works for your student, or share it with them. Some resources and downloads on financial literacy from different sites. Financial literacy from ages 5 on. It's never too early to start having our kids understand financial literacy. So again, here are some resources for you to use. Some games that you can use to teach financial literacy. So you want to check those out. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, throw them in there. I'd love to hear what you have to say, or I'd love to hear about any questions that you may have this evening. Again, another section on elementary financial literacy. Start them young. This one talks about what is financial literacy. And it says, it goes beyond balancing a checkbook. What is it that people need to know at any age? And here it's just giving you some research, some evidence-based practices and programs that you can use for students. High school literacy, necessary and relevant. Yes, it is. So again, I don't want anyone out there to be saying, well, I want to talk to my kids about money, but I'm not sure what resources to use. Here are so many resources. And yes, this does have a lot to do with college and career. Even if your student chooses not to go to college, they're going to do something post-high school. They are going to do something post-secondary, whether that's going to work, whether that's going to a 2-year college, whether that's going to a technical school, whether that's getting an apprenticeship or going on to a 4-year college or joining the military. They need to understand financial literacy. That is a life skill that will be with them no matter what age they are. So again, just looking at some more information, some more resources for you on financial literacy. Again, another one, financial literacy for high school students. So this is a blog, an infographic on the value of financial literacy. So please use these resources. Make sure when you see these in the show notes that you bookmark these and that you share these with your students. Teachers, this is great. This is from Edutopia. So this will definitely be something that you can use in the classroom. Again, so much financial literacy, and there's more where that comes from, but I will I will let that part go right now. So here's something that's really cool. So, in looking around, I was just saying, okay, so what is it out there for students that we can use for financial literacy? So let me just stop sharing my screen for a minute because I want to show you these books. Can you see that one? It says Credit is Queen, Charlene, a coloring and fun activity book. This is by Kishanna, Heyward. And I'm trying to think how I came across this. I think someone posted about her books on LinkedIn. And I said, oh my goodness, this is so apropos because I was just having a conversation with someone about financial literacy. And when you go on her website, she talked about how her young daughter had asked her a question about finances, and she was looking for resources to use that she thought would be age appropriate and developmentally appropriate. She didn't see any, so she created this herself. And there's also one for young men. Okay. Credit is King, Kareem. And these are coloring books. They are so cool. So when you look in the coloring books, she has things on where the student can put in stuff about themselves. There are words on there like credit card, FICO, just so cool. Use your credit and buy real estate. It will create generational wealth and provide another income stream. So they talk about that in the book. They are so, so cute. I ordered these the other day and they came in. It's, mix up your credit. It helps diversify your credit profile. And in this particular picture, she's showing, all the different ways a student can diversify their credit. So again, these are some really, really cute coloring books. So again, it's never too late or never too early to start, students. This is Kareem and this is Charlene. So thank you so much, Ms. Heyward, for creating these. These are absolutely fantastic. And as I said to folks, I will be putting those in the show notes so that if you want to buy some, if there's a young person in your life that you want to help them start thinking about financial literacy, this is a great way to start it also. So one other thing that I want to share with you, and I need to go back to sharing my screen with you. So I had the honor of being asked to be part of a particular program that's taking place. So let me show you this. So this is Destination College Summit. It's actually going on right now. So this is an 8-week exploration of the college process. And there are a series of experts, and I've been fortunate enough to be considered one of those experts. This is the website. It is a paid event. So just keep that in mind. But just to know that what you're getting. So it did start last Tuesday, and it's Tuesday nights for the next. So including tomorrow, there will be 7 weeks left. But just so you get to see who's doing what. So these are the panel of experts with yours truly on there. And it just lets you know what's happening. So the first week it was Jeff Salingo and Kedra Isop, and they were just giving an overview about college and what have you, and navigating this whole process, especially during the time of COVID. And then week 2, which is tomorrow evening, my friend Sydney Montgomery and Allison Slater Tate will be talking about the college search. And week 3, testing 1, 2, 3. Now we know right now testing is in a weird phase because we're seeing schools going test optional. Just today, I read an article that WPI, which is Worcester Polytechnic Institute, which is a fantastic hands-on school for students that want to go into engineering and want project-based. They've been test optional, but they decided to go test blind, which means that they will not consider a test score even if you submit it. It doesn't count toward admission. It doesn't count toward financial aid. So if you tune in next Tuesday, March 23rd, you'll have Akil Bello and Emily Levitt talking to you about testing, and they really will break down what test optional means and all of those other terms that go along with testing. Then week 4, essential life skills. Judy Lithcott-Hames, who has a new book out. So make sure you check out her new book, and I will put that in the in the show notes. It's called Your Turn. So Julie Lithcott-Hames and Wendy Mogul will be talking about essential life skills. So they'll be talking a lot about what are the things are essential skills our kids need to know before they go to college. I mean, they have to learn how to cook. They have to learn how to do their own laundry and what have you. So again, that's what they'll be talking about. Then week 5, yay! April 6th, I get to present with my friend Jeff Levy, and we'll be talking about finding the right financial fit. Like, we know there are colleges that cost so much money, and there are colleges that cost less. But how do you go about finding the right financial fit for your family? So I'm fortunate that I'll have this opportunity to have this conversation with Jeff as my partner. Thank you, Jeff, for inviting me. I really do appreciate that. The next week, we will have week 6, financial aid boot camp, where Nate and Nancy will be talking to you about all of those things, all things FAFSA, all the other forms, how to evaluate, how to negotiate, just all those other things, financial aid that maybe we didn't cover the week before, and then even different stuff. After you click submit, so what happens? Who's reading the kid's application? Who's reading your student's application? What are they looking for? How are they looking at grades, activities, recommendation? Does it pay to apply to a college early decision? So they're going to talk to you about all of the factors that go into an admission decision. So as John Bockenstock and Tiffany Blessing will be talking to you about that. And then on week 8, week 8, you will have an opportunity to talk with Ethan Sawyer and Sydney Montgomery, and they'll be talking about nailing the application. So we'll be giving you some practical tips on the application. And then if you sign up, there are 3 bonus sessions. There's one on filling out the FAFSA with Cindy McDonald. There will be another one on May 4th. Does a gap year make sense? So again, that's something to think about. And then inside scoop from real parents with experience. So again, it's just parents who've already been through the process. So if this is something that you're interested in, I know registration is still open. And as I said, I will put this in the show notes. But if you're just Googling and looking for it, it's Destination College. It's by Your Teen for Parents magazine. So check that out, everyone. So again, little something for you. So any questions out there? The audience, you guys are being so quiet this week. Like I said, usually I have a book, but my book, with the 2 coloring books this week that I think are really cute. And I think it's something that people should look into. There are other products out there, but these are some that I just wanted to share with you this evening. I'm just checking to see if I happen to have any books leaning over here. So this one, I know I talked about it before, but I just love this book, How I Built This by Guy Raz. I really love this book because it's so interesting to hear about how people who created products or services, how they got started, especially when it's a product or service that you use yourself. So again, if you have a chance, this is a great book. I know I've talked about it before, but I'm really enjoying this. I'm reading it slowly. It's also available at your public library. And go on your public library's website. What kind of financial aid resources do they have there? Or financial literacy resources do they have? I know at Cumberland County Public Library, if you're not sure about what financial literacy resources Cumberland County Public Libraries have, you can go onto the website and there is a tab in the upper right-hand corner that says Ask a Librarian. So you can click on that and you can have a 45-minute session with the librarian. So again, check that out. So before I go, I just want to ask people, make sure that, you're sharing this out with people, that you're letting them know about this. Next week, I am so thrilled. Next week, we will have Karen McLeod with us. Karen is a social worker, so she will talk to us about her journey through the field of social work. Her education, what types of work that she's done with social work and what she's doing now in social work. And then the week after that, March 29th, I will be with some of my new favorite people and some of my old favorite people. So I did a little something during the pandemic. I stepped out of my comfort zone, something I always tell our kids to do. And under the leadership of Dr. Anissa Short, I joined a group of other women, and we have written an anthology called Becoming the Shero, where each one of us wrote a short chapter on some aspect of our life. And I can't wait for you to read it. Thank you again to all of those people who did pre-order when we had the pre-orders out. I know you're still waiting. We were having some publishing issues, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks, everything will be set up and you will be getting your book and your journal in the mail. Again, if you need to get in touch with me, you know how to get in touch with me, but this is also my email, drb@stepstothefuture.com. So you could always send an email to me if you have any questions. I do distribute a monthly college and career newsletter that I call Steps. So you can certainly subscribe to that. So if you're interested in the Steps newsletter, just use this URL, and that is how you will get on the list. That will also be in the show notes. And last but not least, these videos, if you know someone that would love to see these videos, but they're not on Facebook, because not everybody's on Facebook, these videos are also on YouTube, and this is my YouTube channel. So that's the URL for my YouTube channel. So again, make sure that you're sharing this out. And hey, while you're on my YouTube channel, hit that little button that says subscribe and hit the bell so that when a new video goes live, you'll be notified. I really would appreciate that. I'm trying to build up my subscribers on YouTube, so I would love it if you folks would do that. So again, thank you so much. This is Dr. Belinda Wilkerson, otherwise known as Dr. B. And I thank you for taking time out of your evening to join me for another college and career conversation. I will see you next week with Karen McLeod, social worker. Take care, everybody.